Everybody wants a life worth living. Opportunity is what we're giving. SSDF we realize the plight of the marginalized. And through beneficiary involvement, we give our commitment to bring improvement to the lives of the indigent. Wow. SSDF help the poor and the needy, help all the youth and elderly with housing and domestic sanitation. SSDF even help with education, creating better social cohesion, better social integration, creating national prosperity, improving life in the country. SSDF uplifting people, transforming communities. SSDF uplifting people, transforming communities. SSDF uplifting people, transforming communities. SSDF uplifting people, transforming communities.
Bonjour, c'est Lucia, and welcome to the second episode of SSDF, Uplifting People, Transforming Communities. I am your host, Ika Fergus, Communications Officer of the St. Lucia Social Development Fund. As a central pillar of St. Lucia's social protection, that is St. Lucia's social protection framework, the SSDF, a satellite agency of the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment, has long been committed to people-centered and community-driven development. Its mandate focuses on improving the quality of life for vulnerable households and communities through poverty reduction programs, skills training, microenterprise support, and infrastructure development. Over the years, the agency has built a strong reputation for empowering citizens and fostering sustainable pathways out of poverty. My guest today is Mr. Brandon Antoine, the Deputy Project Manager of BNTF St. Lucia. Welcome, Mr. Antoine.
Thank you, Ika. Thank you for having me.
All right, and of course, thank you to our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, it's going to be another insightful episode all about the SSDF. Now, Mr. Antoine, for viewers who may not be very familiar, could you briefly explain what the BNTF is and its role in St. Lucia's landscape?
Thank you, Ika. So the BNTF program, it's called a Basic Needs Trust Fund program, but we commonly refer to it as BNTF. This program is a flagship poverty reduction program of the Caribbean Development Bank, and it commenced in 1979. So right now we're closing the 10th cycle and we're about to commence the 11th cycle. So overall we've had 10 cycles of the BNTF program across 9 borrowing member countries, 9 participating countries, ranging from Jamaica to Suriname in the south. And St. Lucia is one participating country in that program. The BNTF program is all about poverty reduction, improving the lives of vulnerable people in our society, and also building capacity of persons through education and human resource development projects, access and drainage projects, and also water and sanitation projects. We also focus on livelihoods in a sense to improve the skills of our persons within society.
Mm-hmm. So how do you ensure that the work of the BNTF reaches the most vulnerable in our society?
We use a scientific approach to the BNTF program, emanating from the Caribbean Development Bank. So we use various poverty assessment tools that are in-country national assessments, for instance, the Survey of Living Conditions, the census, the country poverty assessments, to really provide us with the data that is required so we can do specific targeting in various communities so that we can reach the vulnerable. The BNTF program is about alleviating the plight of poor persons, the vulnerable communities within our societies. And so through CDB, we have developed tools that will allow us to analyze the various sub-projects that are requested from maybe communities, government agencies, various organizations. They do send us those requests, and we carefully analyze those requests to determine whether we can provide funding for these projects. So it is generally a scientific approach. We will not always get it right because you have errors of inclusion and exclusion, but we generally try to target persons who are generally in need in our communities.
Okay, so it's basically it's scientific, and of course you also get proposals from, like you said, government agencies, probably the community group, and so on and so forth.
Yes,
okay.
Community organizations, government agencies, parliamentary reps would submit projects to us, and the BNTF implementing agency, we would analyze, evaluate those projects based on the various tools that we've developed to ensure that these projects meet the demand or meet our policy framework in terms of targeting, etc.
So on for per cycle, can you give us a rough estimate on how many projects you get per cycle and what you have to choose from?
I could tell you we're about to commence the BNTF 11 cycle, and we receive about 65 projects. And out of that 65, we have to carefully choose projects based on the level of funding that we receive, because we don't have an abundance of funds. So hence the reason that we have to do prioritization. We use a prioritization tool to finalize the list of sub-projects based on the number of factors, the poverty assessments, environmental sustainability, economic empowerment, gender equity. We also look at the capacity of organizations to assist us in the implementation of those projects, because we also have co-implementers as well. So it is scientific, but we do recognize that we have limited funding, and not all projects will be implemented, particularly during one cycle. So we have projects which we would have to look at the next cycle, perhaps maybe the 12th cycle and so on, because we operate on the cycles. So it is important for us that we do the evaluations, assess those projects, ensure that they are feasible, and these projects can be implemented based on a number of factors, and that they can reach the vulnerable persons in our society. Because our overall aim is to transform communities and uplift the lives of persons.
So what are the main areas of focus for the BNTF, and why are these important for national development?
Okay, so through the various cycles, we focus, for instance, the BNTF 10th cycle, we focused on access and drainage. These are your roads, the drains, along those lines. Underwater and sanitation, which is another cycle, we focus on installation of water tanks, pipes, installation of pipes, and sanitation also involves the construction of public facilities. Under the education and human resource development sector, we focus on the rehabilitation of early childhood centers, the construction of new early childhood centers, rehabilitation of schools, and also skills training through our partners such as National Skills Development Center, the Sarafalus Community College, and CARE. And livelihoods as well is a key component of the education and human resource development sector, where we focus on the provision of skills for persons, and so persons on completion of those programs, they are CVQ certified, they have a certificate that they can use to make them more marketable in our society, because we want to ensure that you have a piece of paper that you can use to gain employment, which is important for the program. We want to transform the lives of persons. So.
Okay, so let's move on to the success stories. Many St. Lucians are curious about the Basic Needs Trust Fund cycles, because you were just talking about cycle. What cycle is he really referring to? What types of projects came out of cycle 10? And what can we expect in cycle 11?
Okay, so we had some very interesting projects, which were carefully chosen to ensure that we meet the mandate of the government as well as the mandate of the Caribbean Development Bank. So under the BNTF 10 cycle, under the water and sanitation sector, we had one project which was the installation of a 100,000 gallon water tank in Victoria,
yes.
Choiseul. And this project, it was quite needy. In fact, it was submitted to us by the Water and Sewage Company, WASCO, and also community members advocated for this project as well, because it serves, this project located in Victoria serves quite a number of communities in the vicinity of Victoria. 13 or 15 communities to provide water on a more timely basis. So this water tank serves various communities from La Maz to Victoria to Ponyo to Magouge, and residents of those communities, they would normally receive water once a week, and now they are receiving water on a more frequent basis, perhaps four times a week, which is the target of the intervention. We want to ensure that persons receive potable water on a more frequent basis. So that's one project. Under the access and drainage sector, we constructed a road at Crownlands, Bexar. So it's quite beneficial to the residents of that community, because they really needed that road. Road and drains. We also constructed road and drains in Goodlands, which was a very interesting project, because our initial concept or scope was to do the road and the drains. But we upon analyzing the project and various factors within the community, we recognized that there was also a need for water. So we also included in the project the installation of the 4-inch main with household connections. So instead of members of that community having the spaghetti pipes running all across the road and having quite a bit of disruptions through burst pipes, they are now able to get a connection and have water, and also have the road network.
Wow.
So, and the residents of the community were quite happy with this project, and I know they're very thankful for it. Under the education and human resource development sector, we've done quite a number of projects, including rehabilitation of early childhood centers in Labey, at Lakwamingo, at the George Charles, the Bishop Gashi Primary School, also the Antripo Primary School, the Antripo Early Childhood Center, the Babono Primary School, and also
Bele as well.
And we did a new early childhood center in Bele. Yeah. So, and Soufre, we rehabilitated an entire block of the Soufre Primary School. Yeah. So we've really touched the lives of persons within communities. And for the Ministry of Education, I know they're quite happy with our partnership, because we're able to provide that level of support and help them, with that kind of work within those communities, within the school system. We've invested in those schools to ensure, the teachers, students, and staff have a more, a better environment so that they could function and develop their educational capacities, learn a little better, and be more productive. Okay. So that's our overall goal. And
so we take a break, we take a pause.
Yes.
And yes, it's time for a short break. Keep it tuned in. We will be right back with much more on SSDF, uplifting people, transforming communities. Stay tuned.
Listen, I am fed up. You're just asking for more information, more information, more information. What is that all about? You know me, Gassa. I do business all the time.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience, sir, but let me explain to you why we request additional information.
More information, Manita.
So every year, $2 trillion is laundered through legitimate institutions like this bank.
What that have to do with me?
This laundered money is used to support criminal activity and terrorist activity, and also to finance weapons for mass destruction.
But what that have to do with me putting my money into my account?
Well, because of money laundering, our bank, your bank, is obligated to comply with the International Anti-Money Laundering Regulation.
What's that?
By performing customer due diligence. Essentially just knowing our customers a little better.
You know me.
Your banking patterns and transactions. It's a relationship, and if we fail to comply, the penalties will be severe. Not just for this bank, but for St. Lucia.
If we?
Yes.
I never realized that.
But what's good is that we have an oversight body called NAMLOC.
What's NAMLOC?
The National Anti-Money Laundering Committee. It monitors St. Lucia's compliance with international regulations. The aim is to nip money laundering at its source. You know the old saying, si la pani city wears.
La pani volée.
For further information, contact the Attorney General's Chambers at 468-3200 or visit the National Anti-Money Laundering SLU Facebook page.
Welcome back to SSDF, Uplifting People, Transforming Communities. My guest today is our Deputy Project Manager of BNTF St. Lucia, Mr. Brandon Antoine. Now, Mr. Antoine, you were telling us about your success stories in the BNTF Cycle 10 and what is to come with Cycle 11. Continue.
Yes, thank you, Ika. So I want to touch on some projects that we did in the non-traditional sector, the creative sector, which is very important, an emerging sector within our communities, within our society. So we've invested in a few projects that I believe will have a significant impact within our society, and these are projects in the creative sector. So for instance, we developed a skills training project with the Safa Luz Community College we call Business of the Arts, where we provide creatives with training in marketing, also business training.
That was the first of its kind?
First of its kind. So persons, on completion of this training exercise, persons receive certification from SAFA, and that certification they could use regionally and internationally. And they went through the program, did various courses, like I mentioned, financial management, marketing, also I mentioned financial management, and really looking at developing their creative skills and talents, which will allow them to be more marketable in that sector. The other project I want to mention is the music studio at the Grozilo Human Resource Center. This project is very dear to us, very dear to my heart, because we've been at this for quite some time, and we finally completed this project. And so we constructed the music studio, and we also provide equipment. So we've also equipped this music studio, state of the art, one of the best on islands, and we're hoping to hand over this project to the Cultural Development Foundation pretty soon, and so that the public can get to produce their music at a very nominal fee, and because it's targeting the vulnerable. Persons may not have the huge sums of money to pay the private producers and the private studios. So this is a good avenue for them to access a studio just to pay a nominal fee. So we're looking to do the handover and get this studio running. Like I said, state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line equipment, and it's at the Grozilo Human Resource Center. The other project that we have in the creative sector is the amphitheater. We call it the multifunctional performance stage at CDF grounds, which we hope will provide an avenue for musicians, persons within the creative sector, and also persons within the arts, performing arts and so on, will get the opportunity to display their talents in a more open space. Yeah, so that's important for us, because we have the it's another avenue besides having to perform within closed doors. So now you have the open space to perform. So we opened the CDF, which is the custodian of this project, will will manage it, allowing perhaps persons from the tourists
And
from
our
cruise
business of
ships,
the arts graduates.
yeah,
Yes.
to perform, but persons to participate, to attend, because you have a nice stage and you have a nice lawn. With, you could really have some nice shows there, even jazz, if you some nice small jazz,
Jazz
intimate
on the hill.
jazz on the hill,
That'd be nice. Yes.
intimate jazz shows you could have at this facility. So we're looking forward to the functioning of the studio and the amphitheater, which will benefit, like I said, the creatives amongst us. So under the time cycle, we focus on a non-traditional area, but it's a very emerging area, one that we hoping that we can provide some more support in the upcoming cycles.
You missed another one that's dear to your heart, the music room at the Reunion Primary.
Oh yes, yes.
Yes, that one is there as well.
Yeah, how can I forget shows in my community? So we basically we finance the music room and the music studio at the Reunion Primary School. Again, focusing on the creative sector as well. And we also provided equipment for the music room. So we implemented this project in collaboration with the Choiseul Music Committee, and I must commend them on their efforts to get this project going. You know, they were
Symphony.
Symphony. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for helping me. So they, spearheaded this effort and collaborated with us so that we can complete this project. We had a real nice handover. So students between the ages of 5 to 16 receive music training. We also help improve the capacity of the Choiseul Music Committee by providing them with training. And so it's kind of a holistic type project, and that's what we focus on. We try to ensure that our interventions, when we implement the various types of interventions, that we leave the community better off than we found it, and that's our goal. We are mandated to do that by CDB and the government of St. Lucia, that our interventions are impactful and sustainable.
Okay. And talking about partnerships and collaboration, the BNTF works with government ministries, regional and international partners. How important are these partnerships to the success of your projects?
Very important. We are a satellite agency under the Ministry of Equity, and we work in collaboration with various ministries. For instance, the Ministry of Education. We've collaborated with the Ministry of Education to implement various educational projects, such as the rehabilitation and construction of early childhood centers and also of schools. So they are our main agency in terms of partnering to ensure that, and we work together from the very beginning in terms of the designing of those projects. They come on board very early, working with the consultants, and also when we bring on board the contractors. So, so we work with the Ministry of Education to ensure that when we hand over these projects, it's a project that they are in approval of. We're not doing things according to our standards, but it's according to the standards of the Ministry of Education. We look at national standards and OECS standards. And we also look at we follow the CARICOM standards as well, to ensure that we modernize and we have state-of-the-art modernized facilities for our children, so that they could learn and be productive. We also partner with various entities, such as the various skills training entities, the National Skills Development Center, CARE, Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, to help provide training, skills training to persons within society in various sectors. For instance, agriculture, we've done agricultural skills training provided that this for persons. Music training, etc., etc.
Okay. So how is the BNTF program financed, and is the financing sustainable?
The BNTF program is financed, like I mentioned earlier, it's a flagship program of poverty reduction program of the Caribbean Development Bank. So it is financed through a partnership, I call it a partnership between the Caribbean Development Bank, which provides grant funding, and also the government of St. Lucia, which would provide some counterpart financing as well. So, but the main financier is the Caribbean Development Bank. And the Caribbean Development Bank provides this funding for a special development fund that they've set up at the bank, and borrowing member countries and funders throughout the world provide funding within that pool of funds, okay, so that poverty reduction initiatives can be financed throughout the 9 borrowing member countries. And St. Lucia is, like I mentioned, St. Lucia is one of those participating members. Mm-hmm. So we receive that level of funding every cycle so that we can implement various projects.
Okay. So what are some of the main challenges the BNTF faces regarding the implementation of projects?
I believe the main challenge is funding. Mm-hmm. We have limited funding, and
so many projects.
So many projects, yes, so many projects we've earmarked or we've received from our various stakeholders for implementation. So, like I said, we cannot implement all the projects the sub-projects that we receive in one cycle. Mm-hmm. So very often we have to kind of disappoint our various stakeholders if their projects don't receive satisfactory approval from us. So this is a main challenge, but we do understand that we're just one participating member out of 9, mm-hmm, and under the 11th cycle, Barbados will be added. So we'll have 10 participating countries. So you will understand that the pool, mm-hmm, is now being shared among 10 countries. So we have to prioritize to ensure that we use the funds efficiently, carefully targeting various communities, to ensure that we achieve our mandate.
And so, in closing,
yes,
since we're already out of time, Mr. Antoine will have to bring you back.
Yes. Time flies.
What message would you leave with St. Lucians about the importance of social development and community empowerment?
The BNTF program is a community-driven program. Our projects emanate from the communities. It's not a top-down approach, it's a bottom-up approach, where we receive those projects and we do the evaluation. So it's not a case where we come up with projects and we say, hey, this is what you have to implement in communities. So this is the approach that we've been using, and we've been successful at this. And so my message is for St. Lucians is that there is always room for poverty reduction initiatives like the BNTF, like the St. Lucia Social Development Fund. There's always room for that. Mm-hmm. We have vulnerable persons within communities, and we need to ensure that we focus, we uplift people, remove them from poverty, try as best as possible, empower persons, provide them with the skills training, and have this type of inclusive approach to development.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, Mr. Antoine. Yes, certainly our time flew by today, and this has been episode 2 of SSDF, Uplifting People, Transforming Communities. Thank you so much for tuning in, and of course, join us next time for episode 3.
Everybody wants a life worth living. Opportunity is what we're giving. SSDF, we alive. The plight of the marginalized. And through beneficiary involvement, we give our commitment to bring improvement to the lives of the indigent. Wow. SSDF help the poor and the needy. help all the youth and elderly with housing and domestic sanitation. SSDF even help with education, creating better social cohesion, better social integration.